Okay, wonderful. It should be live now. Let's hope I actually get some people in here watching. Awesome. There's a few people filtering in. Could be good or bad. We shall find out. Hope you've all been looking after yourselves and trying not to go crazy, Not faring too well. No, we'll get there. Hope everyone's been practicing as well. We've been working on a lot of different stuff, a lot of difficult stuff for each group, which is cool. Hopefully, we get some of you in here. Let's have a look because it says there's two people. There's probably just Kyle and my mum. So let's have a look at what we did this week. Ukulele. First group. We've been looking at some level 2 songs with some of the groups. So let's do Johnny Ukulele level 2. Do this quickly because not everyone's on level 2. Okay, so and Kyle, if you're watching, I need a new ukulele book because it's falling apart. I've used it that much, or I might just have to buy some staples. Okay, any questions, Carl? Then shoot them my way. It's always well received. Okay, so let's have a look at Johnny Ukulele level 2. We've got, let's say, 8 bars in total, repeated 4 times. Okay, 32 bars in total. So it's not that bad. The first 4 bars are fairly similar to the second 4 bars. So you're not going to have to do too much work. But the difficulty here is changing between open strings and fretted notes. So let's do bars 5 to 8, which is one of the sections that we were looking on this week with one of my groups. So we're playing over an F chord, but we're actually playing the notes A and A2. So cool. And they're with a half note, so a green T. Yeah. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. A, A2. After that, bar number 6 is A3, A2, same rhythm, half note. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last part of the song is the easiest part. It's an open A for a whole note or a peppermint tea, okay? And then that's tied to another whole note, which is exactly the same thing, just added together. So we only play one note, lasts for 8 beats, so like this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wonderful. That's pretty much it. Okay, that shouldn't be too difficult for that group to learn. Let's have a look at what some of the other groups have been doing. So, a lot of us have started the song Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, or Don't Stop Till You Get Enough Ukulele. It's exactly the same song, depending on what version of the book you've got. Okay, I'm not sure why it changed, but it did. So, we've been looking at the first 4 bars of this song. So, we need to remember our A minor chord. Sounds like this, listen. Nice A minor chord, okay. Now, remember, that's our middle finger on G2, so that's second fret on the 4th string. Make sure you use your middle finger, use the tip of your finger, curl it around. Nice, like that. Should be good. Okay. Right, now, that's it in terms of chords for this section that we're doing this week. So then we've got an A3, and then A, like this. Nice and straightforward. I'll play that one more time. So A3, and A. In the green T rhythm, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then after this, we've got E3. So the groups of you that have been looking at tabs, it'll be a good idea for you to try and read this and learn it by yourself, okay? So let's have a look at that third bar. We've got E3 for a peppermint tea, whole note. So far we've got A minor, A3, A, E3. Nice and easy, okay? Now, the last bar is full of, you should know what these are called, these quarter notes. We've got 4 of those because we have 4 beats in a bar. Okay? Right, now we're doing pretty much the same notes with the exception of open E as well. Let's go through that quickly. We've got A, A3, E, E3. Okay, and then that's it for that section. So it's not really too difficult. Ah, so that's Jack that's joined us. Awesome. Any questions? Then shoot them my way. I'll be glad to answer them. That's what I'm here for. Great. Let's have a look. Actually, if Jack's in here, let's have a look at what we did with him this week. Okay, so we did an introduction to tabs. We looked at reading tabs. Oh yeah, what do numbers mean on the tab? Okay, perfect timing. So tab is basically a way that we can write music for fretted stringed instruments. So like the ukulele, we've got strings and we've got frets, like a guitar has, as you can see, basses, mandolin, banjo, things like that. They can all be written with tabs, but you don't get like trumpet tab or, you know, uh, tuba tab or something silly. So you'll notice I go over this really as comprehensively as I can with a book that's falling apart. We've got tabs right at the bottom here. You can see where it is because it says tab in big letters, right? Now you'll see the standard notation or the normal music just above that. But don't worry about reading that for now or understanding it. The main thing is that we're aware of it, okay? We know it's there. It's not scary when we do come to read it. So you'll notice there's 4 lines where it says tab. And how many strings do we have on our ukulele? The answer is obviously 4. So each line must coincide or correspond to one of the strings, okay? Now, if you remember how we numbered the strings on ukulele, we've got number 1, which is closest to the floor, then 2, 3, and number 4, which is closest to the ceiling. Okay. Now, on here we've got our numbers, as you can see, but I'll come to that in a second. So the line at the very bottom, so the one here, okay, that's string number 4. So that's the lowest. Well, it's not the lowest in pitch, but it's the string closest to the ceiling. Okay, is the one right at the bottom, which is our G string, and then the one at the top is string number 1. Okay, so George is watching but having issues using the chat. Can you slow down a bit, please, and possibly recap what you've covered? He is keen and ready, but not sure what is working. Okay, so the main thing that we've covered so far is a level 2 song, which we haven't started working out with Jack yet, but I'll recap some of the steps with tab, and we'll go from there. So tab, for you, George, is an easy way for us to write and read music for instruments like the ukulele or the guitar, but not instruments like the drums or the kazoo. So, I said we've got 4 lines on here, 4 lines on our ukulele. So remember, our ukulele is numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the tab on here, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the string closest to the floor when you're reading the tab is string number 4. Okay. Now the numbers that are on those specific lines mean the fret that you put your fingers on. Okay. So let's skip to a song that we should all know. So Synth Saga, the very first song in the book, page 4, right at the top. Okay. We've got 2 numbers in our first bar. I'll show you that. So Synth Saga just there. Ooh, so you can see it. It'll be handy. Okay. So we've got 2 numbers in our first bar. We've got 2 zeros. Obviously, we can't have a 0 on the same string and it be a different note. Okay. So the string close on the top of those 4 written in the book is string number 1. Okay. And it says 0. And we don't have a 0 fret to put our finger on, so that must mean we play it open. Okay. I always used to think of it as an O for open. All right. And we play that. And the next one is string number 2, or the E string. It says open, so we play that there. Now let's look for a song with fret numbers in to make this go a little bit further. Okay, let's look at level 1 song we would have done. Okay, You Cut the Stars, level 1, right at the top of page 12. So this is looking at our tabs again. So the first bar has 2 notes in it. We've got a 0 and a 3, and they're both on which string? Is string number 1, closest to the floor. Okay, so I'm playing open on the A string or string number 1. Now, if you look in the book here, that has an open on string number 1. Now, the next note in there is on the same string but on fret number 3. It should sound like this. Should do if you're in tune anyway. Okay, so that's the basics of reading tab. So I did ask, in fact, George and Jack's group. We looked at tab and then we looked at reading tabs with Synth Saga, which is the song we just did. Well, briefly looked at for tabs a minute ago. So you should know that it's string number 1 and then 2, or A, E, A, E, like that. And you should know this song anyway, so I want you to try and read it to force yourself to understand the tabs, but don't be too worried if you don't get some of the more complicated songs. Now, your group, we also looked at Synth Saga level 2. Now, all this is playing 2 chords that we should already know. So we've got A minor, so we've got our middle finger, we did this earlier on. Middle finger goes on G2, so string number 4. You'll see that from the chord, A minor. G2, string number 4 right at the bottom. And then we've got C, E, and A minor. Like this, okay? Tip of your middle finger, curl your finger around like that. So we're playing this in half notes or green T, so 2 beats. We've got green T, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we do that for the next bar as well. So we play A minor 4 times, then we play F 4 times. So F is the same as A minor with the addition of 1 finger. So it should be nice and easy. That's why I get you to use your middle finger on G2, like this, because the next thing we have to do for our F, if you look at the tabs, is put our index finger on string number 1 of, fret number 1 of string number 2, or fret 1 of the E string, like that. And you'll notice I'm still curled round. I'm only touching the strings that I need to, none of the others. Sounds like this. Okay, so that the song, it's 4-bar pattern. It goes around 4 times. There should be 16 bars in total, but I'm just going to play the 4 bars so you can hear what it roughly sounds like. Cool. So that tab should help you with learning some of the songs if the videos in the future might be a little bit quick for you or something. Okay, right, now let's have a look at something else that we did. We did our ear training as usual. Everyone should be fairly up to date with what we have to do for that. Everyone is either on major, minor, diminished, or those 3 plus the major 7. Those if you don't have the major 7 yet, we're going to go on to that soon. Cool. So we've also been looking at the last half of A natural minor. Next week we're going to do A natural minor, but the whole thing, do a quick recap on the whole scale, put it all together. So I'm going to do that quickly for you now as a bit of a taster. So we've got this A natural minor. Now this week, the group that was looking at this, we were doing the last 2 bars, bars 3 and 4. And George, Jack, you can have a look at this as well if you want a challenge. So the last 2 bars, so bars 3 and 4, we've got a middle finger on C2. And then open C, C2 again. And if you're getting better reading your tabs, you'll see the next note or the last note in bar 3 is an open E string or string number 2 open. Then we've got index finger, E1, ring finger, E3, and A. So the whole A natural minor scale again, like this. Oops. Baker Street for you this week. Yeah, I'm not going to embarrass myself anymore playing that because I don't actually know the song. So, any questions? Shoot them along, or we can finish it early, depending on what you want. We've got 4 minutes. Get your questions in now. So to clarify, the top line on the tab is the bottom string closest to the floor. That's exactly right. Okay, so when we're reading for guitar or ukulele or something, it tends to be a bit confusing, where sometimes it's upside down or it goes the other way. But yeah, you are right. So to clarify, the top line on the tab is the string closest to the floor, string number 1. Okay, if I write this down on a quick piece of paper just to really hammer it home, should help you out. I really struggled for the first few times I tried to read tab. I couldn't get it at all. So if we have some kind of improvement this week, or we've just started to look at it, you're doing better than me already. Okay? So hopefully this helps. We've got tab written on the left, and then the strings and numbers next to it. So, and when we have two numbers below each other, we're playing a chord, for example, page 7. Let's have a look at this. Yes, exactly. So when they're all in a line, we play them at the same time. Okay? So that one on page 7 right at the top is a G chord, which we've been looking at a little bit. Sounds like this. Notice how I'm playing all of the notes at exactly the same time. Okay? So I'll go over that chord quickly for you. So we've got open G, then we've got C2, E3, and A2, all at the same time. So, and throughout the book in different places, you'll have the chords that we know already. So C, A minor, F, G, D, D minor, things like that. They'll all be written down in tabs. Okay, just in case sometimes, I do it all the time. I forget certain chords. It should be really easy. That's fine. Cool. Any other questions? Fire 'em my way. Be nice to get some. So there is, if we're struggling to remember the names of the strings, sometimes I'll say first, second, third, or say G, C, E, A. If you go right to the start of the book, so this is on page 3, and that should help you out as well. It gives you just something written down. And also says on there, next to the strings on the tab, first, second, third, fourth string, and it shows you where it is on the ukulele. Okay, so when you're reading tabs, and it's on the plane, on the table in front of you, and then you lay the ukulele with the headstock to your left in front of you as well. Okay, question, any practice that parents can do to help kids practice? No worries, George. Okay, that's fine. Okay, any practice? I would recommend just as an exercise is try and learn it yourself. So if you can maybe play it together. If you don't have more than one ukulele, that's fine. Obviously, one of you plays it, then the other one plays it, and then maybe if you decide you want to learn a bit extra one week, say I'm going to learn this half of the song and I'm going to learn this half and teach it to each other. So the best way to kind of ingrain something in your head, in my experience, is to try and teach it to someone else. So I don't think I'm ever going to forget the basic chords on ukulele because how often I have to teach them, and hopefully that kind of helps. There are some links that I can send as well to some other videos that explain it maybe in a slightly different way. Okay, that helps other people. But hopefully that's okay. If there's no more questions, I'm gonna head off. Okay, right, everyone have a good week. Yeah, links would be great. I'll send that out with the link for this later on, so we can all have a look. And I'll see you all next week. Have fun. Look after yourselves.